Recording start. Okay, great. Welcome everyone to this very special moment, which has been, I think, very universally conspired by Dr. Amit Nagpal and Falguni. Falguni is unfortunately not here today in this conversation, but really there in spirits with us. We all came together. I don't know how, but in a book called Sheroes, which is stories of 32 ordinary women like me. And it was such a moment to connect with some extraordinary women like Romaji, Ashu, Kirti, and so many of them. And I'm still surprised why I was selected, but that's okay, I'll accept it. So, this conversation is curated and sponsored by Shiros. Um, and we are so proud to have Kriti moderate this conversation and take us through this important piece around feminine and masculine energy, which is very underutilized in today's world. We'll demystify this conversation because it is not only for females, it's for males as well. And how do we live a good life with all the chaos that we are presented with? So, over to you, Kriti.
Thank you very much, Jaya, for the context setting, and welcome once again, everyone. Today, we explore leveraging feminine energy in a burnout society, a topic that couldn't be more timely. Feminine energy isn't about gender, it's about balance. We all carry both these energies, feminine and masculine, within us: intuition and logic, flow and structure, being and doing. Ancient wisdom knew this: Shiva Shakti, yin and yang. One without the other leads to imbalance. And imbalance is exactly what we are seeing today: leaders burning out, success coming at the cost of health, clarity, and even connection. This isn't just overwork, it's an overemphasis on doing and undervaluing being. I'm honored to be joined by these very inspiring women of Shiro's, Roma Balwani, Ashu Khanna, Jaya Bhatija, and of course the co-author, Dr. Amit Nagpal. And I'm Kriti Makhija, your host and fellow Shiro contributor. Uh, of the wonderful 32 women that our authors put together in the book Shiro's, if you haven't read it, please go ahead and read it, get your copy. And together, we'll explore how intuition, emotional intelligence, compassion, and presence, often labeled as feminine, may be the missing leadership superpower in our burnout society. But before we get into the conversation, a very special announcement from the Abhyudaya team. All of those who are wanting to be part of the fabulous conference starting from tomorrow at 3, there is a special discount of 30% on the fees. So please go ahead and book your slots now. The links are being put into the chats on LinkedIn as well as on Zoom. So with that, let's begin. I'll start with you, Dr. Amit. As the co-author of Shiro's, how do you define internal energy in personal and professional life, and how does integrating feminine energy help counter burnout?
A very interesting question, Kriti. Internal energy can be of two types, masculine energy or feminine energy, but fundamentally, internal energy reminds me of Gandhi's quote on integrity. You know, what we think, we feel, we act. If they are in alignment, then we will have that internal, fountain of energy. If that coherence or alignment is there, then we will be able to tap into this internal energy. And feminine and masculine energy are required in different situations at different point of time. Each human being has, both masculine and feminine energies, and we need to tap into both according to the situation. You know that there is a very famous line that human beings have become actually human doings. So I think we can become human beings once again, by balancing our masculine and feminine.
So well said. We become human doings instead of human beings because somewhere we've lost that essence and we are just on an overdrive. And we often, Dr. Amit, link energy to physical stamina. How do you think emotional and spiritual energy fit into our being?
Right. So, physical energy drives the action. Emotional energy drives our human interactions or relationships. And the spiritual energy is what, we call the life purpose, the deep passion. It, helps us in finding the purpose of life. And if these three are in alignment, I would say we would be able to reach our peak potential and help others, reach their peak potential.
How very well said. And I think this conversation is all about finding that right balance. And as we go forward, Ashu, I'll just shift the spotlight on you and would ask and request you to share can a moment when intuition, collaboration, or emotional intelligence served you better than force or traditional approaches. Hi, Ashu. I think Ashu may be facing some kind of a technical difficulty while we get her back on the
Sorry.
conversation.
Hi.
Hi, okay,
Sorry,
good.
Kriti, can you repeat your question? I lost you in between.
Okay, my question to you, Ashu, is can you share a moment when intuition, collaboration, or emotional intelligence served you better than force or traditional approaches?
So firstly, thank you, Jaya and Amitji, for creating this platform for all of us. And Kriti, as always, your questions are always hard-hitting, provocative, and insightful. So thank you for that. I was a typical A-type professional, logic, action, structure. And when you're working as a chartered accountant, you don't know it any different. Seeing is believing, and that's where it all ends. And then came a moment in life where actually I had been searching for what next in my life. Somewhere the glamour of chartered accountancy had faded, and I was desperate for how to. I think I was trying to create an own identity till you figure out that actually you're just started walking down the deeper path of discovering your identity as the soul. And what really happened was I, in all of this, had decided through one of the interactions in, one of the circumstances in life that I wanted to do leadership development. It was a gap that I found quite starkly missing in the world, that transformation, leadership development was not happening as much in India. And this was way back 2005. Through my explorations, I ended up meeting my mentor coach, who literally asked me a very, very sharp and pertinent question saying, whose acceptance are you waiting for? And in that moment, it felt like as if all of my life flashed in front of me, because suddenly I saw myself as this person who was looking for everybody's acceptance. And I didn't know where to go from there. So I simply asked her, what do I do next? And she's always had this beautiful restraint to hold herself back and say, figure it out. Next 2 hours, I walked around that little town where we met, and the answer really glared in front of my face that there were few instances in life when I had taken my decisions, whether it was to get married, choose to be a CA, or even quit my job to do leadership development. All were leaps of faith in response to my intuition. And the answer really came, I need to trust it more and more because it's always served me well. So from there on, there's been no turning back.
That's so empowering. And thanks to your mentor coach that we have a mentor coach in you today, telling each one who comes under your wing to go figure it out with these little nuances and how it transformed your life. A follow-up question though, Ashu, where do you draw this feminine energy from and how do you use it daily? Some tips on that.
So we can use it daily. So here's the thing quickly, that the minute you turn inwards, your intuition is the one thing which will give you that sense of alignment, integration, like what Amitji talked about, the doing, the being, the thinking, the feeling, all of it aligns. And the moment you feel that sense of alignment, that calm, that ease, and so with clarity comes the courage. So it's really an everyday effort to pause and turn inwards.
How
It's an
wonderful. How really wonderful. And you said with clarity comes courage. And here I'm turning the next question to a very courageous woman, and that's Roma Balvani. So Roma, over to you. And my question for you is, how do you integrate feminine and masculine energies in leadership? And which helped you adapt and thrive?
I think when I reached the leadership position, it was in my mind that I'm now going to be in a situation where I'm going to be dealing with many stakeholders because my job was to be a communicator for a very large organization, which was actually at that point in time when I became the leader there, not known to be a agile uh, organization, and I had the challenge to create a new look or feel of the brand which I was going to be taking over. So I think that helped me, as Ashu said, look inward, see how I should hone my skills. So basically, we all know that learning from experience is always your fundamental right. But to unlearn is also your fundamental duty. And that's what I started doing because I just come back from Norway and I saw India was booming, India was shining. And then I said I have to relearn, which is also my fundamental responsibility. I think that's where both the energies kind of came together for me to start looking at my leadership profile in a way that can contribute significantly to the organization because I was given a goal that we are still at a stage where our organization has to see how they can catapult itself and be a energized organization and how our share price has to go up. And I think that's where the learning and relearning happened. And those are the energies that I took in my own stride and started looking at what is the reality. We look at dimensions of our intellectual agenda, and we then start sometimes losing touch with reality. I kept myself grounded. I made sure that I don't lose touch with the reality as well as what I've learned at the values that I have learned. I think that helped me and took me forward and held me in good stead because empathy and compassion came naturally because I saw it in my family. I think that those were the lessons I learned in the early stages of my leadership journey.
So when I told the people who have joined us that we have a courageous leader, I did not mince my words because it really does take somebody who's very courageous to be able to take a pause in a very early stage in life and say, I need to unlearn and relearn. So thank you, Roma, for sharing that very valuable anecdote and your own learning. And I'm not going to ask you the follow through questions because you've really summed it up very beautifully that it never in any given point of time in your leadership journey did you suppress your feminine energy. And I think that's what made you a very authentic leader. So thank you very much. Moving on to you, Jaya. Uh, can you demystify feminine and masculine energies and explain how history has prioritized one over the other?
Well, loaded question. मेरे पास ही क्यों आया? But there is a question. There is a question in chat also. Meanwhile, you can look at it, and I'm just trying to answer this because history जो यार add कर दिया ना, इतनी अच्छी history नहीं है मेरी, but कोशिश करती हूँ. So, starting with feminine and masculine, if we have to just take a simple example, you can't only do with salt, you only can't do with sugar. You need both. Just look at it that way, right? So the masculine energies are about action, structure, achievement, competition, drive, which is very important for us to grow. However, feminine energies are about flow. It's about softness. It's about emotional support. It's about nurturance. So when you bring both the things together, it becomes a deadly combination. So if we have to look in the history, then look at some of the. Now I'm going blank. क्या कर दिया कृति मेरे साथ तुमने?
थोड़ा सा शुगर
झांसी की रानी मुझे याद आ रही है अभी तो मतलब which is nurturing as well and as fighting the wars as well. There has been a lot of queens in the past who have performed both the roles, right? Who have actually maintained several kingdoms and actually ruled their kingdom. So there has been several examples, and if someone is thinking that why are we talking about history because today's world is different, we are no less than in a war today. We are fighting wars of invisible kind, and that's the reason why this conversation becomes important, to say, hey, recognize your feminine side and leverage it for yourself.
And the wars of the invisible kind are even more lethal, Jaya, and thank you for bringing in that connotation. And, again, a follow-up question for you as empathy gains value. Can you share a moment where leading with empathy beat a conventional approach?
Maybe we say compassion because I think when we lead with empathy, we are also into empathy traps. A lot of people have an argument saying, I was very empathetic and I was taken advantage of. I totally understand that. However, that's the reason why compassion, that you understand your boundaries of empathy and take care of yourself while you're helping others. However, that salt of nurturance and relationship needs to be taken care every time we are doing anything, any business, any transaction we are taking care, we can do it with a little bit of cushion of nurturance, if that makes sense.
No, and it's so well said. I've been a woman leader for over 2 decades now. I think when we come from a place of compassion, which is love plus action, and I think that's just the perfect spot. And most often, I would say 99.9% never go wrong with that. So thank you for building that. And a question for everybody, one word answer. If you had to name one feminine energy quality most essential to your leadership and most needed today, what would it be? Jaya, we'll start with you. One word.
Pausing, really, really pausing, taking time, start your days easy, have your coffee easily. That's feminine, and that doesn't need you to be a particular gender. Just relax, start your morning easy, and create a space in your mind before you actually go and fight the war that you think you are, which you are not, but if you think you are.
Dr. Amit, what would that one feminine energy be for you?
Nurturing. In fact, there have been recent discussions that Gen Z wants coaches, not bosses.
Fabulous. Roma, and what would it be
Yeah.
from your side?
For me personally, it's been resilience because the background I came from, I needed to make sure that I'm managing that in the surroundings that we were in because we, as you know, that our families were displaced and they came to part of India which was then divided, and I had to see the struggles that I saw with my grandmother, my family, and that's when I developed the resilience in all circumstances at a very young age.
Fabulous. And Ashu, moving to you, that one feminine energy quality which is most essential to leadership.
Sensitivity, least used, because that's where vulnerability, compassion, listening, letting go, creating space, turning inwards, listening to yourself, listening to the world, really listening comes from.
Amazing. And with that, Ashu, please stay online because my next question is for you. In a high pressure environment, nurturing can sometimes seem counterintuitive. What does a truly nurturing leadership culture look like, preventing burnout while driving performance?
So I would simply look at it as, it's like a kite. You let it go, you bring it back, you let it go, you bring it back. It's holding on. So where you see the goodness in everybody, you see the potential and you push them for it, yet you are there always holding that space, and they know that you are there at the back. So giving them the space to fail, giving them the space to ideate, to explore, to experiment, and being that sutradhar if required, where and when required. So a nurturing environment is, like a farmer that plants a seed and just does what needs to be done and allows nature to do the rest.
So wonderfully said. So, would you associate a nurturing leader with like a shepherd leader, that you have your flock together, but you're right behind them, allowing them the space to do what they want to do? Ashu, is that
Yeah, it is stewardship in its own way, absolutely. Because all of us, end of the day, Kriti, are trustees.
hmm,
We are trustees for the next generation.
so
And
absolutely.
each one is simply playing their role and being that catalyst to allow another to play their role. Because leaders don't, the best part of leadership is that you don't surround yourself by followers or flocks. You surround yourself with people who even challenge you to grow, contribute to you and your vision and mission.
Hmm.
So it's the environment you create where there is trust. So trust is the biggest catalyst for nurturing, because I think what's missing most in the world today is trust. There's so much fear.
Yeah.
So when the leader comes forward with that inner, very strong trust of it's okay if we fail, we can bounce back. It's okay if we try, we will find our way. Someone who's willing to hold that space of trust and love makes all the difference. And when I say love, I mean that compassion, the understanding, the acceptance
Hmm.
that ultimately everybody is human and on a journey trying to do their best.
It's so wonderfully said, and I'm going completely off my script of questions, but that's a very interesting one. You said that we are also creating and nurturing the future leaders to come. Ashu, are the leaders today insecure of also letting go? And that's why we are in that very controlled environment, and we're not coming from a place of building new leadership or nurturing new leaders. A short answer to that.
So fear of the unknown is common to all.
Mhm.
Fear of losing control again is common, because people feel they'll become irrelevant, redundant. In fact, the more you let go, the more you create space for something new to enter into your life.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very, very profound. So, Jaya, coming to you, how has undervaluing feminine energy contributed to the burnout, specifically through the lens of Shiva Shakti and Yin and Yang? And please don't kill me. I'm once again associating it to something, but please feel free to answer the way you think best.
Jaya, you gave the topic. It's on you today.
I'm realizing, man, you're putting me on spot. Okay. I mean, Shiva Shakti, I don't know much about it. Peter is there. He introduced me to that concept. So I can invite him in case you want more gyan to that. But your question, repeat your question, Kriti. I'm going to
Um,
go get back to you now.
okay. Okay. So my question to you is, how has undervaluing feminine
Ah.
energy contributed to the burnout?
Yeah, so what has happened is the environment becoming insecure or fearful about becoming redundant has made people work harder, less sharing, less caring, keeping information to yourself, more competitiveness. So what it has done, and speed, right? We have accelerated our speeds beyond our meter. It's not this human speed that we are operating with. And what it has done is it has taken away self-care out of the window.
Mm.
Now, self-care was maybe not that much part of our earlier lives also. However, the pace itself used to take care of self-care. Now we need intentional self-care, right? That doesn't happen. Even if we go on holidays with our families, we are not free mentally. We are busy checking emails, whatever, but we are not relaxing really. Self-care has become like it's like going to a doctor. You need to really intentionally do that. Because we have not done that in last so many years, because we were trying to achieve, create wealth. I don't know who introduced the concept of early retirement, has made people crazy. Everybody's just trying to say, hey, I'm going to get retired fast. All that madness has created burnout. So if we are not practicing self-care, and nurturance and pace in our culture, we land up where we are today.
So beautifully said. Most often, we take holidays as a self-care agenda item of our bucket list. But that holiday itself is like a list of to-dos. We seldom spend time with ourselves, with the nature, or just slowing down. I think somewhere the exhilaration of speed, the exhilaration that speed brings, has has aided to this burnout, and we have not realized how it has. So
Yeah, and its structure has taken over us. Even we go for a holiday, we want every minute to be planned because we want to take advantage of the investment we are putting into that trip. And there is hardly any mindful moments that we give to. We're not relaxed at all. We are trying to say, hey, I have 4 days, let me just plan it, and we should know everything. Every day should be mapped, da 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 da. It's taken away everything from you already, even before you get onto the plane.
yeah, so very well said. So to all our listeners, next time you're planning a holiday, it should be a self-care, no agenda holiday. Try it, and then you can come back to us whether it was really effective, whether it was really a holiday. Most often I come back from a holiday and I say, I need a holiday to recover from the
There
holiday.
you go. Yeah, that's absurd, right? You come back from 10 days holidays and you say, now I need another holiday to recover from that. How stupid is that?
So, coming back to you, Roma, all my leadership questions keep coming back to you, so please don't kill me on that.
Not
So,
at
your
all.
next one for you is, how can leaders lead with empathy and emotional awareness without losing authority or effectiveness? And I, for sure, listeners know that Roma never lost her authority or effectiveness. So, no one better to answer.
Thanks, Kriti. Well, what I did is early in life, I looked at this very good Tibetan philosophy. It's a Tibetan Buddhism philosophy which talks about the wheel of life. And the wheel of life only tells you how you can balance your happiness, how you can balance your success. And they really focus on very simple 8 components in your life, which all of us know. At some point, we look at business, career. At some point, we look at finances, which follows because you need to have that. But health becomes very important. Family and friends become important. At some time, romance is required. So you have to see how to balance all of it. So you must have fun and career recreation. You must have your personal development. And for me, what helped me gain my happiness is to give back to society. I think that has helped me in my whole career of leadership. That aspect of giving back started very young, and I kept leveraging my leadership profile to be giving back to society, even in my business profile. So I think these created moments of happiness, and these kept me grounded to reality. And your leadership then is seen with empathy, it's seen with compassion. And as you grow in your leadership journey, you become an enabler. You take people along with you, you support them, you create more leaders around you so that they don't feel restricted. They don't feel that they are being controlled. I mean, there was a time when my team were very young and they had full access to the chairman. And some of my peers told me, don't you feel insecure about it? I said, why should I feel insecure? I need to nurture them. I need to leave a legacy. And I was saying that at age 38,
Yeah, that's just phenomenal, leaving a legacy. And
that the opportunity. So I think that pretty helped me because I've seen it all in life that if you're going to just keep it to yourself, then what is it that you're going to give back? And it's not just to society, it's to the young leaders. How do they manage their life? How do they manage their burnouts? That's when I started doing a lot of that kind of mentoring throughout my journey of leadership.
that's so wonderfully said. Typical, and I'm going to share an anecdote from my own life. Typical, like a 26-year-old who became a CFO. I was not in any competition. In fact, I was in a competition with myself and out to prove that I deserved that job. So immediately gone out of the window, the feminine energy and all that competition and proving myself every day, confidence, even when I was not confident. And Roma, you know who my boss was, and God
Yes,
bless
I
her,
do.
and absolutely a remarkable leader. And she pushed me into giving back to the society, made me in charge of
Yeah.
the CSR for the company. My God, I didn't even know. And just in the conversation with you, I think the balance within me as a leader, coming from a place of compassion, which I very proudly told Jaya that I come from, was thanks to her. And the fact that she pushed me right into giving back, where I had to, see the impact of everyday actions, whether I was going with a begging bowl for CSR donations and stuff. And I think it's so wonderful. You have to have that one part or aspect that continues to ensure that you
You,
remain grounded and remain balanced. So, thank you very much. And I think the balance of energies is what helps us define team culture and performance. So thank you, Roma. So again, as I wrap up this section, I just wanted to ask all of you if leaders could change just one belief or behavior to reduce burnout, what would you urge them to start or stop? And I will start with you, Roma. I think Roma is on mute. Jaya,
see,
if you.
you have to disconnect at some point in time because every time, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, can you
Yes,
hear
yes,
me?
yes, we can hear you, Roma.
Yeah, so Kriti, I was saying that at some point you have to disconnect. You have to understand that if you don't
I think Roma is in a bad network. So, Jaya, we'll move to you. One belief or behavior to reduce burnout that leaders could embrace.
Romaji is still talking. He's trying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll speak.
No, I'm not. You all can go ahead. I'll
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah. Thanks, Roma. Thank you very much for your understanding. Jaya, over to you. If leaders could change one belief or behavior to reduce burnout, what would you urge them to start or stop? Either of the two.
Start building internal security. Everything starts from there. If you are internally insecure, everything is a ripple effect to that. Everything is a spiral to it. So if you can work on it, nothing like it. There is what is yours. Nobody's gonna take that. And you have to prove yourself from your hard work and nothing else. So for me, that is very important.
Ashu, over to you.
Uh, the biggest hurdle that comes in the face of anyone and any leader is the identification with this label, I'm a leader, I'm the doer. Knowing your true identity as Satchit Anand or Brahman, that takes away all the pressure because ultimately so is everybody else the same. You're just in a play with only souls around you. It's the identification that really creates all the stress and burnout.
It almost sounds like I'm sitting with my mother-in-law, who's very spiritual.
I don't want to wear that.
Oh, no, sorry, sorry. I don't want to say that you're the same age or the same conversation, but I'm just talking about your evolved energies between both yourself and Jaya. She would always look at me, जो तुम्हारा है वो तुमसे कोई नहीं ले सकता. In English, what's yours, nobody can take away from you. And never lose yourself in the pursuit of things. And with that, I'm not leaving the man's.
No, I take it as a compliment. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Ashu. And I'm not leaving the man's voice out of this conversation. So, Dr. Amit, if leaders could change just one belief or behavior to reduce burnout, what would you urge them to do?
Yeah, I would say, are you climbing the right ladder? So, we are so busy in hustling or climbing ladders that sometimes we are, climbing the wrong ladder. And masculine energy is about climbing ladders, while feminine energy is about, the wisdom, which ladder are you climbing? So that's why we need both.
Fabulous. I'm so enlightened by your point of view, Dr. Amit. So I'll continue the conversation with you. What misconceptions stop men and some women also from integrating feminine energy in leadership? What do you think is the roadblock?
Yes, so there are certain misconceptions. Actually, I don't know what is the root of that misconception, but when I read about yin and yang, so yin or feminine is dark, night, passive, and yin yang is fundamentally a Chinese concept. But if you look at the Shiva Shakti, the Indian, in Indian framework, actually it is very different. Indian framework is, more balanced. Shiva Shakti is, actually Shiva Shakti is about wisdom, you know. So I would say that feminine association with weakness, passivity, emotional weakness, these are something which are myths. So you can be receptive without being submissive. You can be intuitive, without being indulgent. I will share one very interesting, incident. So there was this guy, an NRI guy from US. Now, he was running a data analytics company in US, and he was telling me, Amit, don't share it with anyone, but I actually take my decisions based on intuition. And intuition is something, feminine, and lots of entrepreneurs use lot of intuition every day. So he was selling data analytics courses, but he was taking his own decisions mostly through intuition. So I think that's a very interesting example.
That's really wonderful. And I would like to bring in Steve Jobs here also. If you look at him, if you look at his journey, or if you read his book or see the movie, he built this entire powerhouse of business on an intuition. Leaders have come after him and who follow his footsteps. And so it's just remarkable. And my next question you've already answered. I wanted to ask you any male sheroes that you've seen who integrate this energy, and thank you for sharing that the example of this data scientist. So thank you very much on that. Ashu, coming to you, how can coaching or mentorship help leaders reconnect with authentic energy and restore balance?
So I think a coach is nothing but a catalyst, a reflective mirror. And when the coach is actually like that reflective mirror or witness to who you're being, it reflects back your thoughts, because each one of us has that coach in us. It's not unique to me. It's not unique to you. Because the coach is nothing but the observer of the witness, that consciousness in us. And when I reflect back, I help you, it changes the direction of your thoughts from going out to going in. And when you start reflecting or looking inwards, you reconnect with that authentic self. So the coach is a catalyst for reconnecting you with your authentic self.
It is, it's a very short answer, but it has a very deep meaning. And it is, I think it's going to take me time to even embrace this, but it's very well put together. And I've had a coach in my life very early on when I was this very aggressive CFO, chartered accountant. And today, God bless his soul, I always look back on my journey. I wouldn't have been even 20% of what I am today as a leader if it was not for her. So, like you said, we all have a coach among within us. So if your inner reflective mirror is dusty, to all the people who are on this call or who would listen to this recording, if your mirror is dusty, go to a coach. They only just dust it a little bit, and you will see yourself from your own reflection. So I think thank you very much to Akash, who was my coach, and thank you to all the coaches that we have on this call today. And with that, coming to you, Jaya, who's again a very well-claimed coach. For leaders sensing early burnout, what's one actionable step to tap feminine energy for renewal and effectiveness?
Pacing out, right? Because when you take a holiday or you take some time out, it's a very temporary solution. You need to build and integrate your lifestyle around feminine energy, which simply means start your day peacefully. Have time for reflection, spend time with your family, invest in relationship that nurtures you. Read. In our today's world, we have stopped reading books. We buy, I mean, all of us have libraries, but how many of them have we read? So these are simple solutions which can, we can get started with. And honestly, we all want that, but we never get to it for some reason. Something else takes priority, speed and achievement and responsibility takes over. But even if you are able to give those small moments to yourself during the day, every day, that's enough. Even if you skip a day, it's fine. But if you're mindfully doing it, you can take care of yourself.
Thank you for sharing those very wonderful, simple tips. We always have so many jargons around us. So, simplicity of the tips that you've shared, Jaya, reading, spending time with your family, start at a slower pace. Slower pace does not mean doing nothing, it's about reflection. I think it will help us amid this chaos. So, thank you very much.
Kriti, can
And
I step in and add something?
please do, Ashu.
I think I would add vulnerability. I think leaders have so much courage to explore the world outside when they set up businesses. I think it's turning that same courage inwards to explore the inner world.
Amazing. Really, really wonderful. We are so put on at all times that we are sometimes even scared to be vulnerable to our own selves. So thank you. Vulnerability is actually, having heard all of you speak, is not really a weakness. It's a strength, actually. You learn.
Actually, that is the point that Amit was making, right? That we are scared of being vulnerable because we are scared that we'll be taken advantage of, we'll be judged, we'll be labeled, and it has happened. So there has been experiences where we have made our spaces unsafe for people who were vulnerable, right? We have called them weak. So I think this is a time for everyone to reflect and start saying we are all humans and it's okay to be vulnerable. Accept, I mean, normalize vulnerability is important in our environment.
Oh, so wonderfully said. Let's normalize what we see as an aberration. So, yes, let's normalize vulnerability. There are a lot of questions coming, but I'm so engaged in this conversation and don't want to lose the thought. Jay, I request the Abhyudaya team to please keep filtering the conversations and the questions, and we will take them at the end of the conversation, if not already answered. Thank you. Stay engaged. And with that, if there is one thing, again, an open question for the panel, how can leaders balance doing with being to sustain internal energy and making feminine energy a lived transformative force? Jaya, I see you on the screen, so I'll throw it up to you.
Oh, come again. I was typing. You asked me
Okay.
the question.
How can leaders balance doing with being to sustain internal energy and make feminine energy a lived transformative force?
Um, Start with reflection. Half a day reflection every day. Write down your reflection itself can get you started. Uh, spend one-to-one time with your team. They need you to hear you. I mean, they need to be heard. Being a leader, the biggest thing we do is to create space for people and make them feel seen. So these are small things, and I'll come back with more suggestions. I mean, I keep looking for simple solutions because I don't want to go to a list which says, "Oh my God, when we'll have time, we'll do it," but we'll never have time, right? So
Yeah.
do small things. Do small things.
Kriti, can you hear me now? Because
Yes,
I'd
yes,
like
Roma,
to.
I can hear you, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this question too.
Yeah. So you know why I said I wanted to come in here? Because what I did and I learned, as I said, during my whole tenure as a leader, one of the best companies I worked for, and I will mention the name, was Mahindra Group. And my interaction with Anand Mahindra was something where I heard one of the journalists ask him that why do you have such an equitable nature, or is it put on, or what is it that drives you to be so calm and composed with everybody and so polite? And I was waiting for that answer, and he said, and I truly believe that he believed in it, in that philosophy. He said, my father taught me that. I was a young man, I had all my ideas, and I didn't understand what the other person's point of view was, and I would leverage my position. And during one such event, after the person left the room, my father said to me that you're in a position of power, but he was not in a position of power. You have to empower people. And that stayed with me all throughout, that when you empower, and then I saw it in action with him. We were at a place in Rajasthan, and there was an event, and everything went wrong. But the man's calmness, there were very senior people. In fact, there was the political leader with us at that time, and he calmly handled the situation. He says, if I were to not do that, where we sat in the car and we were driving back, and I said, Anand, how did you handle this with so much of composure? He said, because if I don't, then the person who's in charge, he will lose that confidence, and I don't want him to lose that confidence because I'm not going to do his job. He has to do his job. So, when a leader speaks in that way, these are learnings. That's why I said that when you're a leader, you learn, unlearn, and relearn. And there's such many instances that help me understand that empowering people, delegating, giving them that authority never makes you lose yours.
So wonderfully said. Empowering does not mean that you're losing your power. It's just that you're creating more power in the world, and specifically the world around you. God bless leaders
Absolutely.
like Anand Mahindra. He's a master class in leadership. And thank you, Roma,
Absolutely.
for sharing this example with us. And again, follow-up question on that, and really an action-packed agenda as we are nearing to the end of this conversation. Roma, if being if well-being mattered as much as performance, what would change in workplaces, and how can leaders start embedding this mindset today?
You asked a very serious question, and I'm reminded of the conversation that went viral about the L&T head who said that would like to work more than 24 hours because he would not like to stare at his wife. And Anand Mahindra again retorted that I'd love to stare at my wife in an open conversation. So I think well-being is very important. I think we have to create that balance in life, and which is why I do follow the happiness philosophy that I have learned very early in life when I saw my family doing that, and managing the adversity that they were facing, and which actually got me to start working at a very young age, which was 16. But that didn't deter me from understanding when you have to take that break, when you have to pause, like everybody said, and when you have to look at your inner self, do it now. There is no other time than now.
Yeah, present moment is the only moment that we have. And with that, Jaya, coming to you, What's your vision for a workplace and society that integrates masculine and feminine energies? And what one shift would be most transformative? And while Jaya is answering that question, Dr. Amit and Ashu, you can structure your thoughts because the same question is coming to you.
Matlab, you have to ask me all tough questions today, huh? Okay. So
You're the
the
chosen one, Jaya.
Okay. So, Kriti, meanwhile, Shiva has helped me collate all the questions I'm putting in the chat and answering this question. See, my vision would be, can we have an integrated design of a workplace? Our workplaces today are extremely masculine in nature. They're not meant for feminine energy,
Hmm.
right? Which what I mean is it doesn't have spaces for pause. I'm not generalizing it, but mostly the organizations, what I have seen and I see with my clients, are they places where there is time for relaxed conversation? Are there spaces for, vulnerable conversations? Can they be more flexible in nature? And again goes back to the value system, right? And again the debate starts that if you start becoming too soft, then you start compromising on productivity, which is not the case. Actually, if you integrate feminine and masculine energy into workplaces, you can take out more from people. You can actually help people produce more, and that understanding has to seep in. So whether it is seating structure, or it is schedules, or it is working hours, or it is company policies, everything needs to be looked at for an organization, for the workplaces where people would love to go. They thrive there. Their families are very proud of them, they working in those organizations. It may look very fancy, but it's very possible. It's very possible. A lot of us start entrepreneurship simply because we want to enjoy that balance, right? And we do, because we have created that environment in our setups, which allows us to balance productivity with progress and growth. So why not do it at a large scale? That's
I
how
mean,
I would think, and I'm sure there can be more ideas.
yeah, and with that, Ashu, any thoughts that you want to add on to what Jaya has very beautifully contextualized as the shift that would be most transformative?
So, to adding on, I would say, human beings are not born to conform, we are born to create. Creativity is a feminine energy, but to put that creativity into convert it into reality, you need the male and masculine energy of structure, process, execution. And that's where the two get integrated.
How beautifully put. And I think it sounds very simple, Ashu, but I think it won't be that difficult even practicing it. We just have to be intentional about the practice, I think.
So it's, when you talk about workplace environments, what do we need to do is creating space for people to think instead
Hmm.
of just doing. Because, there are so many processes, protocols, people get so caught in just doing that they forget that the biggest gift human life has is the capacity to think differently, to think outside the box and not become that conformist. So giving people that space, the time, that's why work environments or like the Googles of the world have become so much about experiential and, the space, those thinking pods, the brainstorming spaces and all that, because you need that space to think.
Yeah, and it's so wonderfully put. And anything that you want to add on, Dr. Amit, to this very interesting conversation of the shift that would be most transformative in our work cultures today?
Yeah, so my ideas are similar, maybe in a different way I would, put it. So I would use the word contemplative practices. So contemplative practices include both formal, let's say formal is meditation. You can't do maybe meditation in most of the offices in the world. But you can do informal contemplative practice, which can be reflection, which can be, for example, mindfulness, a very easy to do, form of contemplation. In fact, personally, I have experienced, read, researched a very, very, powerful way of contemplation, which is self storytelling. So when you tell your own story, you understand yourself better. Who shaped, which experiences shaped me? Why do I get angry at certain situations? what brings out my best, what brings out my worst. So, that understanding of self really improves through self storytelling. And I've written more than 500 stories about my own life. Maybe, ready for an autobiography whenever, I get time to, put them into that shape.
Oh, we're looking forward to that autobiography. And I think Ritu in the chat has also said that for her, it's awareness and self navigation, something like what you said, Dr. Amit, from feminine to masculine energy and drawing from both. Kudos to you, Ritu, and thank you for striking that balance. I'll take some questions from the audience. Anjal has asked physical energy, emotional, and spiritual, and when they are aligned is when we are at an ideal place. Her question is physical energy masculine and emotional feminine and spiritual common to both? It's open for the panel. Anybody who would like to take this on, please.
I would share my views. Physical energy is masculine in the sense because it is action oriented. Emotions are more feminine because all things feminine are associated, caring, nurturing, with emotion. And spiritual is actually balancing that masculine and feminine.
Very, I think you've clarified very well on this conundrum on what is masculine and what is feminine and what's the balance and how spiritual energy adds to finding that right balance. Peter asks a question, and Jaya, I'll request you to answer. Is there a place for the dark feminine to avoid burnout? Kali cutting through the ponderous masculine crap.
Oh, again, tough question to me. Peter, why? Why are you doing this to me? Okay, I think I'm trying to understand the question. Is there a place in our ecosystem? There is
Is there
less.
a dark side to the feminine energy? And
Of course, dark side to both. There is a dark side to masculine and feminine both, and I will take Ashu's help to complete what I'm thinking right now. Is only if we can embrace the darkness of both the energies, we can actually produce a better world. It's just that we suppress it and we do not allow it, and we actually shy away from it, is when we are not able to see the whole dance.
yeah, and the dance of Kali, where she actually, I would associate it to the dance where she danced, cutting through the ponderous masculine crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashu, I would request you to elaborate on that part. That what do you call that energy? Kali's energy. Is it
Tough,
masculine, feminine? Is it a mix of both?
tough love.
Tough love. Yeah.
Tough love is something which people hesitate to put out because of fear of being, we all present a certain goody goody two shoes image. We are all looking to be popular. We are all looking to be embraced, accepted by the world. But the day you are absolutely okay, and tough love does not mean I'm not being good, I'm not being, it just means you're doing the right thing. And someone has to sometimes put that tough love out. Uh, it is cutting through the fear. The shadow is the fear, because fear is nothing but a shadow. It doesn't exist. It's you.
Mm.
It's there and all, and yet it's not, because that's why we call it the shadow side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're okay to cut through the shadow and just put the light out again. Uh, so for me, my coach was the one who pierced through my fear when she asked me, whose acceptance are you waiting for? To me, that was like I think the sharpest arrow that could go through me at that point in time, dissolved me completely. And it was the best gift she gave to me with asking that question. And she gave me the courage to be that person who was okay asking tough questions.
Yeah.
Asking tough questions and also coming from a place of compassion and love, practicing tough love. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
because see, we look at compassion again only as sometimes sympathy. No, sympathy and compassion
No,
are two very, very
very
different
different.
things.
Yeah.
If it's sympathy, I'm riding on to what you are already feeling helpless about. Compassion is where I understand you, but with love, I am okay to say, hey, there is another way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Ashu,
it's like
sorry.
it's like calling it out, right? Calling it out, saying not only ourselves but to others, who say, you know what, you are being judgmental in this moment.
So here's the thing. I think sometimes I would say okay, I think people feel jarred by calling it out.
Mm.
I would change it to just holding the mirror.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why, we deal with the vocabulary in coaching, saying, don't say you're challenging. Say, can I share my observation? Don't
It's
say, I'm going to give you feedback. Say, hey, I have few observations for you. Would you like to take it? Because I think the association of these words have been so jarring, as you said, and so threatening that even before somebody receives it, they push it back and say, no, I don't want feedback. Don't call it or don't challenge me. It just doesn't land well with our bodies.
Yeah, sometimes even just the slight shift of the words that we use. And thank you, Jaya. We're coming up with feedback and 360-degree evaluation in the organization. I'm going to apply this and I'm going to come back to you. I'm a person who quickly learns, hopefully. So yeah, I will come back to you on that. And I know we are running against time. And so one lightning question for the panel, and everybody, please, short answers. One core message about integrating energy to combat burnout and thrive. One line each, please.
Can I take this first?
Yes, please, Roma, go ahead.
My experience has been that when you're in a good situation or you're in a bad situation, all of these have to pass, right? And if you persevere and you see yourself doing the right things at that time, I think that is going to help you keep that resilience with you, keep that balance in your life. Once you get that, hit that sweet spot, which I kept saying the reality of life, I think then you're good to go. You can balance your life, you can balance your career, you can stop feeling guilty. There are a lot of people who feel guilty about doing what they're doing. But don't feel guilty. If you have to take time off, then you just take that time off. And if your family sometimes tells you you've got to do this, you've got to do that, say at some point, I need a break. And they'll understand. And I've done that very often, which my family is a bit surprised sometimes, but they take it in their stride. Take that time off. Take that, uh, inner balance. Get that straight. Get that right. I don't think, unless it's for me, as somebody put it when they heard my story, is the locus of control is within you. It's a behavior and it's been data driven, it's a behavioral science. And I think I practiced it very unconsciously.
Very good. I think for me, it comes from my star sign. I'm a Libran. So, yes, balance has been the key. But so very well said, Roma. Starting at a very young age as a leader, if I would not have struck this balance between my own time, my family time, my work time, and taking real holidays where I'm switched off, I think this would not have been possible. Every time I have a space like that to find myself or to just even be, forget about finding. I come back as a better person and as a better professional. So, with that, Jaya, any one core message about integrating energies to combat burnout and thrive?
Yeah, so see, we are humans and we are made for connection. What is reduced, significantly reduced in this world is casual conversation. Have partners, people, friends where you can do safe conversations, where you can express, where you can celebrate connection, because once that in place, everything else is taken care.
So wonderful. A place which comes that it's okay to be vulnerable and you're not being judged. And
Yeah.
that you really have a person. And I can see a lot of stars coming up. Thank you, Jaya, on that. And it's so simple and yet so powerful. Ashu, over to you.
So it's a dance for all of us of, a dance with spontaneity and awareness. Like they say, the dancer becomes the dance, where you constantly are stepping in and out of saying, doing the right thing and saying, am I being right or am I doing the right thing?
Hmm.
And knowing when to step out of the, into the forefront of step in.
My God, this sounds like the salsa class I go to. It's so wonderful. You have to be in sync with your thoughts, with your actions, and yet be so intentional and mindful. Ashu, very, very powerful. Dr. Amit, we started with you, and I'm going to end this conversation with you. So, one core message about integrating energy to combat burnout and thrive. One line, please.
Express your uniqueness fearlessly. So that is my core message. And closing about the Shiros, like what Jaya was talking about. So I would say conversations build relationships, stories build bonds. So I hope all the 32 women have built strong bonds with each other, reading each other's stories.
So wonderful. And if I was to just assimilate just this last one question and the answer, be yourself, express yourself, balance your life, and of course, build connections. And don't forget to do intentional dancing. So, with that, I think we are drawing to a close. And I would just end by saying burnout is not a wellness issue. It's a leadership issue, leadership in the organizational context, in leadership of your own life. So, burnout is a signal. True leadership isn't driving harder, it's harmonizing energies, integrating intuition and that intentional action, whether it's a dance, whether it's conversation, whether it's knowing yourself, and leading from a wholeness which is balanced, like Roma said. The future belongs to those who do this, and the question is, will you? The leaders of tomorrow won't be defined by how much they drive, but how consciously they balance energy, culture, and results. Thank you to our panelists, Dr. Amit, Jaya, Ashu, Roma. I tried my level best to put the toughest questions, but you knew it all. So it means that you are practicing the balancing of the two energies to avoid burnout. So thank you very much. And for your conversation, for the tips. And thank you to all the wonderful people who have joined us today. And I am sure you are on the right path for always choosing balance. And to aid you in that journey, Abhyudaya Consulting team will share resources on LinkedIn and on Zoom Live in continuation of this conversation. Do explore them and always choose balance. And with that, this is your host, Kriti Makhija, signing off for now. And thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
Thank
Kriti, for this
you.
one.
Thank
Give
you.
me a minute. Give me a minute. I have an invitation for everyone. So we are doing the Spirituality to Reality conference tomorrow and day after. And the biggest gift in that is we are conducting 100 coaching conversations. So if you are someone who's looking for a space, please sign up for the conference. There is a special price for people who are attending this pre-conference. The discount link is there in your chat window. Our only intention is to give back, and we want to give back 100 times, and hence we need 100 people who want to take support. So looking forward to see all of you in the conference, and wish you all a very positive, good energy by end of this year. And thank you, Ashu. Thank you, Kriti, Romaji, and Amit for so beautifully curating it together. And we haven't done much preparation, so the way it has come out is amazing. Thank you very much for your time and energy.
Thank you, Jaya. And not preparing also
Thank
comes
you,
from
Jaya.
feminine energy. So it
Yeah.
goes well with the
Thank you,
theme.
Jaya. Thank you,
Thank,
Kriti.
Thank
thank
you
you,
very much.
Jaya and
Bye bye.
Amitji, for bringing us together. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.